Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Shit Your Mama Should Have Told You and More. Today we are going to talk about religion, all
Wait,
things religion.
what's your name first?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because that's important. My name is Simone,
Hey,
and I'll be
Simone.
moderating today. And I'm here with, of course, Ramel and Alex.
Hello,
Hey,
hello.
hey.
So I'm excited to talk about this conversation because I grew up heavily in religion. I grew up in a Christian Baptist and then more towards the end non-denominational religion. So the first question that I wanted to discuss was I just wanted to see you guys' background. Like, what's your background with religion?
I grew up Catholic with my grandmother being, I don't want to say Pentecostal, but she kept saying it was fire baptized, but I don't even know if that's really a religion. Um, but sh- she was very religious. She didn't even wear pants. Like, in this religion, women didn't wear pants.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I didn't like doing either one of them, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Catholic just seemed too regimented, and it just seemed like repetitive. And then her church, they stayed in church all damn day. So
Yeah, I've been there.
So
all
sorry,
day.
it just reminded me of the Gary Owens skit about a white person going to a black church.
Exactly. It was just like that too. You sitting in
It,
there, but you didn't even get out until you didn't leave there till like 5 o'clock.
he's like, it's 6 p.m. I'm hungry. Everyone be quiet. I grew up Catholic. It's very very similar to what Ramel says. Very regiment. Yeah, bow, kneel. Was an altar boy. Went to Catholic school from kindergarten to senior year of high school, and that's probably why after high school I fell away. Damn, you
What
gonna
the
say
hell was
excuse
that?
me, Ramel? Jesus.
Did y'all hear that?
So like an 18 wheelers in somebody's living room right now.
It gotta be
Right?
in one of y'all's.
The Lord is coming for us for talking about religion today.
I know we talking too much trash.
No, so I was a cat. I went to Catholic school, kindergarten to 12th grade. Was an altar boy. That's probably why after high school I had a major issue with the church and stepped away. And it wasn't actually till I met my wife that I said I would go back. Mainly because of her, she wanted me to go with her, and the church we went to was a non-denominational, and growing up Catholic with that whole regimen is a perfect way to describe it. To go into a non-denominational, walking in, there's like a rock band there. I was like, okay, I can kind of get with this.
Yeah.
Kind of fell back into the church mainly because of my wife, um, but more, for lack of a better phrasing, more on my terms instead of so militant as it is in the Catholic Church.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't feel that like the strict religion regimen, I don't feel that it's healthy, honestly. And I'm not going to say like religion ruined my life. However, I'm very loyal. I'm a very loyal person. So when you tell me this is right, this is wrong. As when I was young, I just like walked on the right side. Like I just felt like that's what I should be doing. And although in my mind I was like, well, I want to go to that side over there, but I was like, no, this is what's right. I'm loyal. I'm going to stay loyal to the game, but I felt like it really held me back. And like people I've heard multiple people tell me that I'm wild. And I'm just like, I'm not wild. I don't think I'm wild. But
Don't lie now. Don't
I'm not
dare
Look,
lie.
I've seen
I am.
videos on YouTube. I've read your blog. You got some crazy stuff going on. Lord, let's pray over this young lady this morning.
I don't consider it wild. I just consider it very open. And like growing up religiously, you couldn't be very open to explore different things. And when I say I'm open, it's just very general. Like I'm open, like let's go hiking in the Grand Canyon. Like let's do it. So when I say I'm open, I'm just willing to just try everything because you don't know what you can like or dislike until you try it. And with when you're so like enveloped in religion, you really kind of don't have that option because it's just so like you're just so like, is this right? Is this right? Like you're so focused on, is this the right thing to do? And you can't live life like that. So as of now, I don't know how. I'm really having a hard time struggling like how to place religion in my life right now. Like, of course, I still believe in a lot of the morals and the values that religion has to offer. But how are y'all doing with like religion right now? Like, how does it fit into your life?
I just need to know what really is non-denominational. What does that really mean? I know what the words mean, but what does it really mean?
So basically, growing up Catholic, you knew that there were certain things you had to do. Like I've been to mass I think once when I was a caregiver, and it was very, you sip the wine, and then you
The
guys do
chalice.
this, you do this prayer, and then it was like literally like 45 minutes of these rituals, and then the priest came on at the end, and he talked for like 15, maybe 20 minutes. In a Baptist church, there are certain things that you do as well. And if you go all the way back to like Southern Baptist, like in the black church, where most of my religion, comes from, I remember my grandma telling me that she was sitting in the front, and she had sleeves that were 3/4 long, and the other ladies in the church were telling her that she needed to wear longer sleeves. My grandma hated wearing skirts. She hated wearing skirts, so she wanted to wear pants one day. Ooh, she got it. She got it.
Wow.
And so non-denominational is kind of like you come as you are. We're not here to see how you're
Yep.
dressed, what you're doing. Everyone is imperfect. And so I did fit. I love the non-denominational idea better because there's not like a set of rules. The only set of rules are the rules that God has provided us.
Yeah,
Um,
it's really just anyone that's a Christian gets together, and like you said, it's not so. I don't want to use the word structured, but it's
mhm.
really not so structured in a way. Everybody just comes together with their beliefs, and they praise and they worship, and they go about their day. It's not like growing up Catholic. Well, you kneel and you bow your head, and you say your Hail Marys, our fathers, and all that. You know, I,
I went to a church like that here with one of my girlfriends. I didn't like it. It
What,
was
now, what type of church did you go to?
a non-denominational church.
Okay, okay.
so what
Um,
didn't you like about it?
I just didn't feel comfortable with. First of all, I don't like going to church, so let me not even put it on it being non-denominational. Let me just say that I'd
There
rather
we
keep my
go.
ass
There
at
we
the
go.
house.
I would say, come on. You can walk in, you get some coffee, a donut, you meet some nice people.
Uh huh. Uh
You
huh.
you put the kids in a separate room. Everything's
Right.
nice.
Right. Yeah. I didn't like the music. Um, I didn't like the whole way it was run. It was just a different setup. I didn't like it. Maybe if I went more often, I could get used to it. I didn't feel like I had been to church when I
Mm.
had left.
And I
Do you,
think that's one of the things that appeals to it, though. Because I know for me, like growing up Catholic, going to the Catholic Church, I absolutely hated it. It felt like it was more of a chore than somewhere where I wanted to go. Where I know
Mm.
maybe it might be because I'm older now, and not being forced to go all the time anyway. Um, I do have, a more of a. It's become a place for me, at least like a place of sanctuary, a place to think, a place to hear certain things that I don't realize are going on in the world in a way that relate to my life.
Mhm.
How people from different backgrounds, ethnic backgrounds, all come together, and we're really all fighting the same problem. Whether it's day to day reality, whether it's parenting, where it's choices that we made, how we relate to people. We're all dealing with the same thing, and I think for me at least, going to a non-denominational um, made me feel almost more connected with people that aren't my skin color.
Well, Matthew 18:20 says, "For where two or three are gathered in my name, there I am with them." So it's usually two people in my house on a Sunday. So God is here with me all the time.
Amen. Amen and amen. So I was gonna say that actually. That was gonna be my next statement where I've had some really good pastors over the years. And I remember a youth pastor teaching us, and we were all getting older. And he was teaching us that you can have church anywhere you are. So church doesn't have to be in this, however it looks. Church doesn't have to be the way it's supposed to look. Church can be wherever you are. And I took that with me because there were things in the church that I wasn't for. I feel a way about women coming in looking like they about to bust down and go to the club. I don't like that. Um,
You
People
old.
people like will say like, oh, you come as you are and yada yada yada, and I understand that, but also, we're all fighting temptation, and
Hmm.
it's very common for people to come to the church to meet people because I feel like we're fighting temptation, but I also feel like there's so much temptation in the church. I don't know. I don't know. And my family they constantly are telling me you got to get Bella in the church, and she needs to be more spiritually connected. And I totally agree that she does need to be more spiritually connected, but I don't feel that it necessarily has to happen in the church. We talk to her all the time. We pray, we do all that, but I'm gonna be honest, we don't go to church.
Bam. Grew up real religious and don't go to church.
I mean, look. At the end of the day, you have to do what's best for your child as far as spiritually, and emotionally, and everything along with being a parent. But as far as spiritual, you can't let anybody else tell you. You need to get your child to church. We know a lot of people. We've heard stories of people that grew up in the church, who have veered off very, very hard. So
Why are you looking at me, Alex?
well,
She
first of all,
said,
first of all, Simone's video was on my camera. I didn't see you. I was making sure the B is still straight in her medallion.
Oh Lord.
But if you feel I was talking directly to you, there must be a reason why. And why is that, Ramel?
I've veered off very, very far. Trust me.
Well, I'm in that same boat.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So how did you veer off?
I used to run a whole house.
I was about to
You
say,
can't.
watch episode 1 and 2, please.
Right. And then but you know what, I think back, Mary Magdalene was supposed to be a prostitute. So,
Right.
um,
Exactly.
if God can forgive her, he can forgive me.
That's right.
So I was just
Now,
acting in the likeness of isn't she a saint now? Saint Mary Magdalene or no?
look, I'm like, y'all's Catholic. I don't know about the saints and all
Oh
that.
I
shit.
don't
I
think
don't know.
I don't think she's a saint.
Well, cuz I thought she was. 'Cause I was about to say that's how I'm going to
I,
get
th-
my
I thought.
sainthood right
Well,
there.
see, I thought you were gonna say you relate because you were a virgin and became pregnant, and that's how.
No.
Oh,
That
interesting.
no. Wasn't going to say that.
and now, and now, and now.
So, okay, so speaking of Mary Magdalene, I have a theory, y'all. I have a theory. I got
Oh,
theories,
Oh
okay?
Lord.
here we go.
And
You you,
we might
you
have
called out the
been
right name there. Oh Lord.
we might have been a little bit high when we was talking about this theory. But so the Bible, right? There's been a lot of talk in the black community about the Bible and how it was written to keep slaves and black people in check. One of there's some pieces in it that
Mhm.
were written to keep slaves and black people in check.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to say I agree with that 100%. And at the same time, I cannot say I disagree. But there are things in the Bible that when you hear other people talk, it makes you wonder, is that really what happened? Or is that just kind of what they took it? It's like you have a real life story and then someone makes a movie of it. And it's like, okay, that's not exactly what happened, but we get the idea, basically.
Mhm.
So I have a theory. What if Mary was not actually a virgin? What if Mary was actually the prostitute, but she was chosen by God? And that's why people gave her the side eye, because they were like, how could God choose a prostitute? But he did that to show that anybody can be worthy and anybody can, receive God's forgiveness and all that.
So let me make sure I got this right. Because we're not talking about Mary Magdalene. We're talking about Mary, the mother of Jesus, the mother of God, was potentially a prostitute. Is that what you're saying? I want to make sure I got this shit straight. Because I'm like, what?
So
She couldn't
Joseph,
have just had sex with one man. She had to be a prostitute to be chosen.
Yes.
Is that what you? Okay,
then
you
we're
was high.
sure
You
Joseph
was.
is the father then.
I think she was high. She was high. I don't know what kind of high you were, but you were high.
I thought he thought, yeah.
I only get high on one thing, okay? Let's just get that straight.
Opium?
Okay.
Opium? Is it opium?
No. Look, I ain't got no money for opioids.
So I do think, jumping back to the first thing you said a minute ago, I did hear some things in some of the readings, and don't get it twisted, I do not read the Bible, but I listen to it sometimes, like Bible verses. And there was a comment in one of them, a statement, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was like, listen to your slave masters of earth the way you would your heavenly father. And I'm like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody wrote that shit. Don't sound right. That sounds ridiculous. So I do think some of the verses were, some parts of it were written to keep people in certain kinds of order. To address the second thing you said about the Mary, I don't know how. I mean, if we believe that there was no people on earth, and that Eve was a white woman, then why can't we believe that the mother of Jesus was a virgin? I mean, I think there's some stuff that's unbelievable that you can't believe anyway. So if you pick that out, you got to pick out some of the other parts too. You know what I'm saying?
It's just a theory. I'm
I,
I'm throwing
I,
bait out there.
I mean, look, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised, and we've all heard stories of how the Bible has changed over the years to, uh, depending upon what version,
Mm-hmm.
who wrote it, who changed it, who deciphered it. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, the Bible does reference slavery. The
Mhm.
Bible does reference, brutality. It mentions so many things that are crazy to us that it does seem far fetched in a way. Certain aspects of the Bible, but however, I think there are certain cores that still remain true to the original purpose of the Bible. I think a lot of the cores of the Bible are still how it was meant to be is still relevant for today. But I do think there's so many changes that have happened just like anything else. And the masters don't want the truth to come out. So they're not going to tell you exactly what happened. They want to tell you what you think, what you need to have, what they think you need to hear, what's going to make them shine in a better light. So would it be
Well,
surprising? No.
well, okay, so one of the things I had a big conflict with this growing up. Like I said, I grew up religiously, and although we live in a government that's supposed to be separation of church and state, as we all know, there are multiple laws in place that it's obvious it's not a separation of church and state. So one of the biggest things is abortion. And when I was younger, I was always against abortion. But that was for me personally. I always felt like I don't have the heart, to go through with abortion. And when you grow up in a very religious, my childhood being, you know, growing up very religious as my childhood, it's kind of, I'm not going to say they brainwash you,
It
but
is.
they definitely make you feel
Brainwashing.
like, yes, they definitely make you feel like no abortion, point blank, period. And as we all know, again, it's not that clear cut. It's not a black and white situation because although I'm not for abortion, I am pro choice. Me personally, I'm not for abortion, but I am pro choice. So when I say that, I mean, if someone else feels like they cannot go on through with this pregnancy, me having a child very young, I know how difficult it is to make that decision to go carry on with it and to live with that. And some people say, well, that's you got to live with your choices. And that's just, that's the consequences of having sex before marriage and yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. I understand all that. But for some people, it ruins their life. And I don't feel that you should be forced to make that decision. And
Oh,
also, I feel, uh huh.
no, I was gonna say absolutely. I agree with you 100%.
Hmm. I think that, like, well, I told y'all. I think I told you this before, Simone. When I was growing up, I wanted to work in an abortion clinic,
Hmm.
just because I felt it's a woman's right to choose. I don't think it should be related to religion, because there's a lot of things that we do that the Bible says you shouldn't do, that don't almost can't really apply to 2021. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Hmm.
You have to live in your day and in your morality. If I think I think that is a problem when, you know, the government says you can't have an abortion because of religious reasons. That just doesn't make sense to me. I think you should mind your business. If you got a penis and babies come out of vaginas, you can't control out of uteruses. You can't control somebody's uterus. You know what I mean? I don't feel they have the right to do that.
Hmm.
But
The government needs to just stay out of that because it's really, it's none of their business. At the end of the day, you have a right to choose. It's, Simone, you said something that, you know, you made the choice to have sex. Yeah, but you know what though? There's a lot of times in this world that young girls don't make that choice and
true.
Hmm.
are, put in a situation where they now have a baby that they didn't want, they weren't expecting,
Hmm.
and now they have to live with it.
Hmm.
It's a fucked up situation.
That's why we got so many
Religion,
kids
right?
in
You know what?
foster care and
Religion is so quick to
Yep.
say, do it this way, do it this way. You're so bad for doing it against the way we taught you to do it. Get out on the streets. You know what, man? Shit happens.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, uh, unless the only way the government, and even this is a fine line for saying, should have any control over your body is if you sign up for the armed forces.
oh hell no, you still don't have control. I think the only
But
time
it's
the
a fine.
government
No,
should
no. I said it's a fine line, meaning they can tell you you need to go to this place, you need to go to war, you need to fight this battle. You
oh
sign up for
okay.
it. That type of, not like Tuskegee experiment type of things. Like, you need to go here. You need to fight this war. This is what you need to do. You need to battle this person. If you die, so be it.
Hmm.
But the government can say, well, you got knocked up, you got raped, and yes, we're sorry, but you know what? You are not allowed to lose that baby. God put that baby in you for, you know what? Separate religion from state. Government should not have any
Yeah.
control over that type of thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we'll get to a place that will truly be able to separate church and state
It's never going to
because
happen.
because religion is very big. Well, religion is big across the world. We still are fighting wars today over religion. So I don't know if there's ever going to be an actual separation of church and state the way it should be, but I
The way it
do.
was meant to be in this country.
Right, the way it's meant to be, the way it says separation church and state, but we haven't been doing that from the beginning. I think there's a difference between morals, and then there's a difference between religion. So not killing somebody, that's just like I don't think that has to do anything with religion. That's just like a what's the word I'm looking for? A subconscious. It's like I can't think of the word I'm looking for. But anyway, just as a person, it is not natural to just be able to just go around and kill people. If that is how you feel, if you feel it's that comfortable for you to be killing people, there's literally something going on in your brain. And there's a lot of things going on in people's brains. However, like I said, there's morals and then there's religion. There's certain things that are in place to protect people. So when you're driving, wear a seatbelt. That's understood. Wear a seatbelt because if you're driving and yada yada yada, you get into a car crash, the chances of you dying with the seatbelt versus not a seatbelt, the chances of you dying increase significantly. However, at the same time, there are people that don't wear seatbelts because they've been in accidents where people died because they couldn't get out of the belt. So you can't force somebody and be like, oh, well, if you don't wear a seatbelt, then you're going to jail. No, you can write me up and give me a ticket, but you can't tell me that if I'm not wearing a seatbelt, I'm not allowed to drive, period. So that's saying like if you get pregnant, you have to have this baby. No, if you want to regulate it in some other type of way, like whatever. I don't know how you would regulate it, but you can't tell somebody if you have a baby, if you get pregnant, you have to have a baby. Because if one
Well,
of
they
my
do.
kids, no, I know they do. But if one of my kids come in and they tell me that I've seen 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 year olds, all those ages, getting pregnant and actually having babies. My 12-year-old, my 13-year-old, my 14-year-old, my 15-year-old. I don't know about my 16-year-old. It kind of depends on the situation. I don't know. But I am not going to force my kid to have a baby that young. Only because, for one, I'm going to have to raise that baby. I'm going to have to raise that baby because I'm going to make sure that you continue to succeed and be successful so that you can take on this baby. But if I put all that responsibility on you as a 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old, you're not going to be able to be successful or as successful as you would be. It's going to be a much harder journey. And yes, it can make you stronger or whatever, but it's not something I'm going to force my child to do. Now, if my daughter or my son says, you know what, mom, we're having the baby and this is just what it is. Okay, that's your decision. We can move on, but I'm not going to force you. I'm not going to force you. I don't feel that's right.
What about the Catholic Church, who there's a woman married to a man, and the Catholic Church says that she shouldn't be on birth control, but he's beating her ass and she gets pregnant.
Mm-mm.
As someone who grew up Catholic Church, the Catholic Church is so fucked up and ass backwards. They prioritize the wrong things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they protect men that are involved in pedophilia, and then speak down to women that are raped because they don't want to have a child. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, let's be completely honest about the Catholic Church. It's nothing but a business. Not great, the idea behind
Catholic
it.
church. How about churches in general?
Oh yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Churches in
Mega
general.
It's a messed up situation that the government has allowed it to happen the way it is. But just to back up on what we're originally talking about, what we're just talking about regarding abortion and blah blah blah. We, as much as it goes against what religion speaks, as a society, we need to do what's best for our younger generation. And if we don't provide a safe haven, they're going to go find somewhere that's not going to be a safe haven. Being in SoCal, oh, we don't have it here, fine. Yeah, we'll just go down to Mexico and get it.
Yep.
It's crazy to say, but prior to COVID, it was easy to drive down to Mexico, do whatever you need to do
for an abortion.
for an abortion, for dental work, for anything.
Well, that's
Good
the
health,
problem.
right? We literally legit have to go to another country to have ourselves taken care of properly.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks we can't do that here because the government and religion and blah blah blah. It's a fucked up situation. But it's not just Catholic. It's all religions.
Yeah, well, like I said, I didn't grow up Catholic, and I understand the struggles of feeling like you have to live a certain way. understand the struggles of like, in the Christian, I'm just going to say Christian, in the Christian religion, they tell you to not even masturbate. Masturbating is against the Christian values. And
Ooh,
it's
I'm
just
in trouble.
like,
I was thinking the
I,
same thing, Ramel. I was thinking the same thing. I'm a,
I was like, and I just
Lord,
always,
forgive me.
I thought about that.
multiple times.
I'm like, so what are you supposed to do? I
Look
mean,
at look at it in the mirror.
like, I can't have somebody else do it for me because I'm married. And so now I can't do it myself if my man is not giving it up, like I'm just supposed to just go without. Like, no, that is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Like sex is at the bottom with food and water. Like, come on.
Very basic need, right?
So it's just like I just feel that I feel like I said, I'm not gonna say religion ruined my life, but religion definitely, had me on the straight and narrow, and I would have blossomed earlier. Let's just say that. I would have blossomed earlier if I would have felt comfortable with exploring. If I had the choice to be like, okay, this is the path we're on, this is what we would like you to do. If you stray far from the path and you feel that that's not for you, then come on back and we'll accept you. That's how I feel like religion should have been. I do feel like if you stray too far, the farther you stray, the harder it is to get back on the path. I do feel that way. But no matter how far you stray, I've seen people stray, go real, they way out there, and still be able to get back I mean, I can only say like religious terms, on a righteous path. Um,
Do you think that has
but
to do with the congregation though? Like, being so accepting and forgiving? Because I know, like, growing up, in a Catholic, it was more like the family had to accept you back, and then you go to church with them and blah blah blah. But I feel like, it's non-denominational. It's the more congregation. Look, we're always here for you. The door's always open for you. Where I feel like in the Catholic, it was more like the family had to accept you back in before the church would accept you back in, or
Like a cult.
non-denominational. Yeah, in a generic term, yes, a cult. But maybe that's just my experience. As a kid growing up, 13 at the Catholic school, I'll be the first one to admit I didn't know anything else about other religions. I knew there were different denominations. And there was Protestants and Baptists. I mean, I knew Jehovah's Witness come knocking on my door, people with Bible, and my grandma's like, "This Jehovah's Witness, what do they do? They're just, you Bible pushers." Okay, but it wasn't until I got older until I started to really slowly understand the differences between them all, and even to this day, and I'm like, I still really don't understand the major differences. It seems like to me there's, everyone believes, but there's like little sects of what part they believe and what part they don't believe. And, there's wars that start over this stuff, which is ridiculous. But I
I
think it's,
definitely don't like Bible thumpers.
I
mhm,
mean, I see it in LA so much, people standing on the corner with a big sign and bullhorn. And I'm like, that doesn't work, right?
mhm,
Like when Aisha and I got together, she was going to church. She's like, I would like you to come to church with me. And I'm like, I'm not ready. When I'm ready, I will let you know. I'm not ready. I'm not there. I have my battles. But I remember after my father dying, and I was like, turning to Aisha, I'm like, you know what? I'm ready. I'm ready. And it was more about somewhere on the inside of me that just needed to find something that made myself feel worth it.
mhm,
And it wasn't until I sat there and just listened
mhm,
and didn't say anything, just, took in the words and how, certain stories from the Bible or certain stories the pastor would tell kind of related to my life. And I was able to understand it in a different level than I was as a kid. That it got to the point where it was like, I actually got baptized this last October
Well,
okay.
as an
congratulations.
adult, and I was like, it was, well, you were baptized as a kid, but it wasn't the same. My
Yeah.
parents were giving
Well,
me, as an adult, it's a major step. It's so different. You
mhm.
know,
What do
Well,
you
I
guys
feel
think about
that
Buddhism?
So I was just about to talk about other religions as well. So I don't know much about any other religions. But I've never been against people that have gone to all the different types of churches because I feel that I'm a researcher. I like to get all information and then come up with a conclusion. My grandpa's an engineer. I guess you could say I get that from him. But it's a very like well thought out process. So when I hear people that say, "Oh, like I was like in the Buddhism religion for a little bit, and then I went to that man's church, that one celebrity, the Scientology, and
Hung out with
you
Tom
know,
Cruise.
yeah, that guy. So I've never been against people that do that because I'm just like, that's like more kudos to you because you are taking the extra initiative to decide what is really good for me. And when I was in high school, I had this one classmate. He was Muslim and he was like strict. And I remember just listening to him in class, and I never really debated like back and forth with him. I would just ask him questions here and there. But I remember thinking, how do I know my religion is the right religion? That's another thing about religion. We feel like if I'm a Baptist and if I'm a Christian, that's the only religion. And if you are any other religion, you're not getting to heaven and you're going to hell and yada yada yada. And although all of our like basic morals, they kind of all are the same for the most part. Everything is the same. Basically, everything just says, fuck it, be a good fucking human being. That's what everything says. Okay?
Right.
That's what the basis of everything is. But I
Right.
was like, how do I know my religion is the right religion? How do I know that? Because this man, this boy sitting next to me, he's looking at me like, you ain't getting to heaven. You ain't, oh, I don't even know what they believe. Honestly, I don't know if they believe in like heaven and all that. But in his head, that's what he's thinking. You ain't getting to heaven, you damn Christian. Y'all so fucking stupid. That's what he's thinking. So I'm like, how am I to tell him he's wrong?
Yeah, I
Well,
get that.
let me ask you this. I'm gonna. Do you let other people choose your career?
No, not at all.
Well, then who cares? Because at the end of the day, like you said, it's all about being a decent human being, and there's certain parts of each religion that we may not agree upon. You know, but you need to do what is best for you. You need to find out where you fit in. And kudos to the person that's going around learning about Buddhism and Catholicism and Hindi, and all the different religions. So they find something that fits them best. Like one of our favorite artists that Aisha and I listen to, he practices Buddhism. White dude, from South Carolina. But we've listened to him for 15 years, and we've seen his spiritual journey. To the point where we've seen like a calm in him that we didn't see 10 years ago.
Hmm.
If you were to meet me today, the person I was 10 years ago, 12 years ago is completely different. And I would say that with everyone, but however, for me personally, going to church, having a place just to sit and listen to people, having that call me, hey, how you doing? You doing okay? You need anything? Just to check in. I know for me has has given me more of a feeling of belonging. Has given me more to a reason for being here. No,
Hmm.
because
Well, because
sometimes
it's speaking to your soul. And I do feel that. I feel like no matter, I know some people believe that you don't have a soul, but I feel that everyone has a soul. And when you connect to that soul, that's how you feel. That's what you feel is right. And maybe I do believe in like the Christian values because I was raised that way. I'm not gonna say that like, oh yeah, like I think I would be really good like as a Buddhist or anything like that, but I do feel like it's the connection to the soul, and that's what's most important. And I feel like as people, if we would stop focusing, here we go again with the labels. Our world is so wrapped up in fucking labels. It's like ridiculous. But if we stop focusing on like, what's your label? What's your title? Who are you? Who you fucking? Okay, you did that. Like if we stop focusing on that and we realize it's a soul connection. Because I've connected with people that say they're atheists, but you can say you're atheist, but it's like I still feel your soul. I feel that
Somebody kept
coming
saying
through.
that to me. Somebody used to say I was an atheist, and I'm not.
I have a
But
cousin that's an atheist.
and
I
so
go ahead. I'm sorry, Simone.
no, and so I would I wanted to speak on, oh, it was something else I wanted to speak on. Um but even atheists. So you guys, your experience with people that are atheists, that is a non-belief in any higher being, correct?
Hmm.
Right.
Do they feel they have a soul?
Yeah. I mean, because I'm not an atheist, because I'm borderline. Like, I believe in a higher being, but I don't know which one of these religions is the right one, because every time a Jehovah Witness knocks on my door, I'm just like, no, I don't believe in it, no. And they're like, why? And I'm like, first of all, I don't want you knocking on my door on a Saturday morning ever again. And 144,000 people are only 144,000 out of the massive amounts of
Billion.
people. You're
Right.
not going to get, that's it? No, that I don't. So I don't believe in that.
Mhm.
There's a lot of things that I don't believe in all the different religions, but I don't think it makes me an atheist. I think what it makes me is just um, a little more aware of who I am.
Mhm.
Uh, and I have a soul. I have a
Yeah.
soul. I do believe in a
My-
spiritual being greater than, but I don't know who or what. I've practiced Buddhism,
Mhm.
Catholicism. I went to the Baptist church. I done been all over. And right now, I don't go anywhere. But you come in my house, you see a bunch of Buddhas in here. So,
Mhm.
As long as you
but I
don't
have
come
a
on a
soul.
Saturday morning, you're good.
Damn sure don't knock on my door on a Saturday morning. You're going to get cursed
My
out.
well, you get cursed out of your house at any time of day. Come on, let's be
That's true too.
real. My cousin who is an atheist. I mean, I didn't find out till about 4 or 5 years ago, but the dude is one of the sweetest human beings I know.
Mhm.
He doesn't believe, he believes that we're here. After here, we're done. On to the next.
Hmm.
What's afterwards, he doesn't know. I don't think any of us really know, and I think that's one of the real reasons behind religious wars. Because my God's better than your God. No, my God's better than your God. We don't know these things, and um, But as far as like atheism, any religion, you're going to find people that are some of the most beautiful people, and you're going to find people that are the lowest forms of earth. And in every religion, people that do believe, don't believe. Um, I was watching this thing last night that was talking about there's thousands of other planets just like Earth with the possibility of human life form on there. Now, religion tells us that we're the only ones. We're the only country that can have humans and people. I mean, do you believe at all that your religion forces you to think that we're the only people on only place in the galaxy that has humans? Because I know that's what
Now,
I was taught.
now I don't recall like learning that in like in the Bible. I don't recall learning that we're the only beings like on this planet. What we were taught was we know how our earth was formed. Um, but I say use a fool to believe that our galaxy is a tiny speck in the universe. And I'm like, you really gonna believe we the only living beings in this universe? I'm sorry. That's just you stupid. I'm sorry, you stupid. You dumb.
Well, apparently
You
they don't believe that. That's why they're exploring all these places.
Yeah. I mean, I don't feel that was like religiously connected, but I'll be damned if you try to tell me we're the only living beings. But that's like the, scientifical,
Yeah, but there's also,
part
come
of
on,
it.
let's be real. Are you really surprised that people say that? Because there's people that think the Earth is flat.
Still?
Yes,
Hell no.
there's a bunch of flat earthers. There's tons and tons. There's more people that are flat earthers than are Jehovah Witnesses.
Oh, really?
Well,
What?
it's crazy. There. I mean, I just went by the number that you said, Ramel, is it 100 some thousand people? There's so many flat earthers out there. I mean, would we be surprised that there are people that believe that we are the only humans, only speaking species
Let me
across all
correct
the
that.
galaxies?
I said 100. Jehovah said only 144,000 going to make it into heaven.
Okay.
Not
Okay.
144,000 Jehovah Witnesses
Okay.
altogether, because I know it's plenty more of them. Because 20 of them knocked on my door, so it's got to be more than 144,000.
Yeah.
Uh, I think,
Jesus's followers always start with 12 people, and look how that grew
yeah, yeah. I think that
across.
one of the things we have to remember is that no matter what religion people adhere to, that there are morals, norms, and mores that we should follow. So it doesn't matter um, what kind of religion, what God you pray to, or you know, whatever. I think that it really comes down to your morals, mores, and norms.
Hmm.
The things that you should do right, things that culturally say this is right, and things that are placed on you. Those, I think that's really what I focus on, and
Yeah.
I get that shit fucked up all the time, all the
Hmm.
the,
time.
th- the thing that pisses
Yeah.
me off about religion, to be honest, where people use it as an excuse. Let's say we were talking about abortion earlier. Let's just talk about a young girl goes out, gets knocked up. She'd come home and her parents would be like, "No, you got pregnant. You got to be out on the street. Kick him out of the house because she's having sex or whatever at a young age, and it's against the religion." And the parents will kick the kids out, and that's against the religion. It's like, you know, we all have to come to a point where let's just do what's best
Hmm.
for said person. For me, does God exist? I believe so.
Hmm.
Have I ever heard God speak to me directly? No. Do I think he whispers to me? Yes. I call that my conscience.
Hmm.
So at the end of the day, your conscience is going to direct you to do what's right and wrong. And I
Hmm.
think, if we all listen to our conscience a little more, we're all going to be, all the religions are going to kind of veer into the same path.
What if you don't have a conscience? What if a person doesn't have a conscience?
Yeah, I was gonna say that there are some people that say they don't have a conscience, and I feel what happens is you're a product of your environment, and we all build habits, and we create what is normal for us. And I think if you condition your mind to believe something, you're going to believe it. So if you condition your mind to say, this is what's right, this is what's right, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, like you're going to believe it. So when you say, I don't have a conscience, I think what you did was you conditioned your mind to put that voice out.
Because it's convenient. That's what they do.
Exactly.
That's why
It
people
is
go
it
out here
is very
killing.
convenient. It's very convenient to say, "Oh, well, I cheated and I don't have a conscience and da 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 da." Nah, I feel like you're
Nah,
taking the easy road. You're taking the
everyone has a
easy route.
conscience. Come on.
That's, I mean, we have to talk to somebody that literally says they don't have a conscience and really like break it down, but that's my understanding because I've talked to people that, have explained to me that little voice, you start plucking it out. So you don't have that little voice anymore. So that means you can move and you can do certain things that you know you shouldn't be doing, but you can do it without guilt because you've plucked that voice out. You
Then they
pluck
need
that voice
God.
out, and you
That's
say
when
you
they
need.
need God. Then that's when they need God.
See, that's. I don't think you put here. You know what? I don't think you pluck it out. I think you become very good at ignoring
Yeah, yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
I don't know. I mean, look, everybody has their own way of doing things. Everybody's going to have their own beliefs. Everybody's going to have their own, opinions. And this is one of those conversations that nobody really knows the answer, and the people that know the answer can't tell us the answer.
Well, because there's no like right. It's not black and white. Like I said before, it's not black and white. You know, I don't know if you guys know this, but one of the biggest preachers in our American society, his daughter got knocked up at 16 years old.
Yeah, I know.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's like you can't, just because I'm up here in the pulpit doesn't mean I know all the answers. Because I'm sitting up here preaching to you, to millions of people, what you should be doing in your home. And guess what happened in my home? My damn daughter got pregnant. Right? I'm
We
right up underneath my nose.
we hear about it all the time.
So it's like there is no right or wrong. There is no like, you can't. I think you just have to be open to the fact that people make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. So like when people talk about, preachers that, oh, well, they cuss at home. Oh, and they do this and they do that. Why are you looking at a preacher to be perfect? That's a human being. It ain't Jesus. That's a
Well,
human being. So take in the word, and that's what I had to do. Take in the word, take in what you need to take in, because not every time I was going to church I was sitting there, crying, bawling my eyes out. But there were times the preacher says something, he was on a topic, and I was, woo, my soul was hitting. But it's not like that every single time. So you take in what you need to take in, and stop thinking about, like, everybody need to leave everybody alone, like get out of everybody's business, worry about you. Worry about you and what you need to be doing. Worry about your heart. Worry about your soul.
that is one of the reasons why I really don't like going to church too, is because I remember sitting in church one day down here in Atlanta, and it was a mega church, and I'm sitting there looking at this man, but I know something about him, this pastor, and I know something about him that probably half the congregation knows, but yet we went to his church, and I was just like, fuck that. He's up there giving me the word, and he don't even listen to the word because he
Mm-hmm.
doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And I just said, I'm not going anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it comes to a point where, if a preacher, a pastor, or, whoever, a priest, is doing something, has these behaviors that is not acceptable, and it's not morally right, okay, you got to take that person off the pulpit. Take them out because they're not being a good. So the pastor, the priest, whoever it is, they're supposed to be a good example, but they're not supposed to be perfect. But there comes a point where you take them out. Like, I don't know all that much about the Catholic religion, but all them folks that was like fucking with them kids, take them out. Take them out. I don't care who they are. I don't care how high you are on a pedestal. You're gonna get knocked down because we
Yeah.
understand you make mistakes, but there's some things you have to, there's consequences to mistakes. And so if we keep putting up with people that don't have consequences to their mistakes, what do you think other people are going to believe? Well, they didn't, they so high and mighty, they ain't get no consequences, like maybe I can slide through, like, so I just think that, I think religion in general, I think it's just become something that a lot of people are questioning. I know a lot of people my age are questioning, because it's like we don't fit into this religion. My generation, like, nah, bruh, we don't fit into.
Well, that's the thing about your generation. My generation was more forced into it. Like I had to go with my grandma. She made me go. I had to bring the pamphlet home to prove that I went. But what was the sermon about? And and I think that was one of the things that made me move away from the church. That and what was going on in my childhood made me think, dude, if there is a God, why am I going through this? Why are you putting me through this? If there's such a loving God, why are you torturing me through this? Now, as I grew older and I went back to church, and there was a lot of times that I sat there and cried because I was what the priest was saying helped me find peace, acceptance, whether it was, acceptance of my father dying, whether it was acceptance of the bullshit that I did in my past, whether it was just accepting who I was and coming at peace with it. I forget where I was going. It's too
Oh
damn early.
shit.
My coffee didn't kick in. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm like, hey, it just dropped. Um,
Well,
you know,
basically,
yeah, take over. I'm brave for that right now.
Bum, bum, bum.
Yep. I'm sure it was really good too. What I was gonna say.
I'm sure it was Alex. Um,
3 hours later.
I'll I'll come back. Look,
so, like basically, I'm not saying throw religion out the window, but I think it has to be reconstructed. That's what I personally feel like.
I
Um,
got it now. I remember.
uh,
I think okay. Thank you for making me remember. What I was gonna say is, it's being forced upon you, and I think it's one of those things where if it's forced upon you, you're gonna be pushed away from it. If it's something that you do, I know, like for our kids, it's more of like we don't force them to do it. It's more of like a family gathering. It's a family event. They have their friends. They go and learn. They walk around here saying it's more of a good time for them. And I think like someone like me who was forced into doing it, dealing with all the bullshit I had to deal with, it was easy for someone like me to think there wasn't a God. And if there was a God, I was one of the people he was punishing. I just didn't know why.
you should
You know,
watch
and
on Netflix. There's a movie called, oh, what is it? Ma Rainey. Ma
oh
Rainey.
yeah, yeah.
The one
Is
that
that with Cat?
Chadwick Boseman
Yeah,
played. Yeah.
yeah.
And he has, such a heartfelt scene in there. And he explains why he believes there is no God. And I think that's true for a lot of people. I think when you go through hard things, it makes you feel like, how can you tell me there's a higher being looking out for me when all this shit is happening? Like, you know.
Hmm.
And
And
that was my thing.
mhm. Yeah, and I think it definitely makes you question. And in those moments, I do say hold on to your faith, because we don't live in a perfect world. And it's God, there's 8 billion people, 8 billion people on this earth, I think,
Give or
right?
take.
Somewhere around there. But God can't look out after everybody. It can't be a perfect world. Adam and Eve fucked that up when they decided to eat from the fruit, because we was gonna be free and naked and just roaming and just happy, right? But then Eve ate from the tree of life or whatever. So she fucked that up for us. But everything can't be perfect. My sister passed away 5 years ago. She was murdered, actually. And our family has to deal with that. It's been extremely difficult. And, I think all of us have asked, why, God? Like, why? Like, why did this happen? But um I think for me personally, I had to just hold on to my faith. The year she died was actually a really good year for me. I was very successful. I had a lot of good things happen in that year. And then it was like the most like tragic moment that had happened in my life all in the same year. So it's easy to say like, why God? Why God? But it's just like it's not, I don't think it's for us to figure out, oh, why. The why, sometimes the why doesn't matter. It happened. You were given lemons, so make lemonade. Do your best to make lemonade. If all you can do is just hold the lemon, just hold it. And then maybe
Hmm.
eventually you can start making lemonade. But we can't control what happens, and God's not going to sit up here and make everybody's lives perfect. It doesn't happen that way. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Well,
Hmm.
we're always going to ask why. That's just a part of human nature. I
Mhm.
mean, whether it's science or religion or in our daily lives, why
Mhm.
is this happening? Why is this happening? Why is it's just that's just human nature, and we're never going to stop asking why.
Mhm.
And we just got to come to a point where like when my father had a major stroke, took him for 7.5 years. Why did it have to happen to him? What did
Mhm.
he do to deserve this? Why do I have to take care of him? Why
Yeah.
can't I move on with my life? What I realized after he passed, and from going to church and just sitting there listening, why it happened, because there were certain things that I needed to learn. That was basically the last lesson my father was supposed to teach me.
Mhm.
And after going to church, what was supposed to happen is I was supposed to learn peace.
Mhm.
But I didn't know that as I was going through it. And I'm sure your experience, like when your sister passed away, why did that happen to her? Why did that happen to our family? 5 years later now, there may be a little bit of answers to why that had to happen to you and your family for things that you had to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Hope God, we will pray there was a way to learn those things some other way.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I don't know. But do you have any answers of why that had to happen to your family, or what things that you learned through that experience that you wouldn't have learned other ways?
I mean, I remember having a conversation with my family, and it was very shortly after she had died, and I was just like, I said maybe this is just a chance for us to just grow closer and love harder. And the conversation went on. I can't remember everything that happened, but my family ended up getting mad at me because they were just like, why do you think we don't love each other, and yada yada yada. And I'm always like, glasses half full. I'm always glasses half full. And so I can't say, probably in the beginning, I did question, like, why God? Like, why? And then what I started to change my thought process, and I was just like, okay, what are we supposed to take from this? What is the outcome? What are we supposed to learn? What am I supposed to do? How are we going to go forward? Because you can't question why. And I know, like, from a young age, from the time that kids are able to talk, why? Go wash your hands. Why? Eat your vegetables. Why? So everything is why. And I understand it's normal. But some things have answers and some don't. And God, religion can't answer everything. There's not an answer for everything. And sometimes you have to come up with your own answers. You have to figure out, how can you take this experience? Like I say, how can you take this lemon and make lemonade out of it?
Well,
Yeah, perfect way to wrap up what we're saying. I mean, there we don't know. We at the end of the day, we just got to kind of, like we talk about, do our best, be the best human we can, treat others the way we want to be treated. And when we lay our head down at the end of the night, I did what I could to make the world a better place.
Mhm.
but did you really, Alex?
Heck yeah, I served a bunch of food to people. I got them refills on their sodas. I picked up a little kid's binky when he dropped on the floor. I even got some hot water so the mother could soak it in and sanitize it. Yes, I did some good things, dang it.
Okay.
I'll go
Let's not
far
even
as to
talk
say
about my kids.
I'll go far as to say I don't even care about making the world a better place. The world is too big for me to focus on trying to make it a better place. I will make my kids and my family, I will make us as strong and as good as we can be. But
And that is making the world a better place.
oh, okay.
I mean, because no, and let's be real.
I'm
It's
like, fuck
crazy.
the world. No, just
I worry about my household. Well, what you're teaching your kids is making the world a better place. There's a great, I forget what commercial advertisement it is. It's like, a guy sees someone walking into a store, and you open the door for the person. And then that person goes somewhere and does a good deed for somebody else, and the good deeds trickle down.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And I think that's really what it comes down to is, that's making the world a better place. If I do a good deed for so and so, and they feel, oh my God, I was nice to them, a stranger did this, and that stranger does a good deed, and that stranger does a good deed. That's how we can make the world a better place. That's how, you teaching your children the the good, the bad, the choices to help them stay on the straight path. And if they pick them up, dust them off, and get them back out there, and
That should
teaching
have been
them
the
the
true
right thing.
meaning of "Make America Great Again." That should have been the true meaning. Just
Well,
Yeah.
do
you know what?
one good deed at a time.
Hmm.
That
We
should
need
have been
like
the
we
true
need that
meaning.
Michael Jackson soundtrack in the world in the background as we're doing this monologuing.
Yeah. Which one is that?
The Michael
Make the
Jackson.
world a better place.
Yes. I'm like, I can't
For
sing it, can
you
I?
and for me
Yeah, there you
and
go.
how is
The
that?
entire
Wait, how
human
come? How am I the one who knows that song?
race.
I knew the words. I just couldn't remember what it was called.
So you
Yeah,
could,
yeah.
yeah,
I said,
heal
"Make."
the world,
There you
make
go.
it a better place.
Okay.
Oh no! Don't do that. Do
I'm
not
not.
encourage
I'm
that.
not.
Do not encourage that singing.
Whoa, hold on. Let me warm up a little bit. Me, 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 me,
No, no,
me,
no,
me,
no, 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 no,
me.
no, no. Okay.
Y'all see I get fired up about religious topics because
I see.
it's been some
Are you standing
conflict.
on a soapbox right now while you're doing it?
No, no, that would be a whole nother show. But yeah. I think I don't know. I hope we're headed in the right path. I don't want to have any more wars in our country, over religion, and everybody just mind your own business.
Look, wars are dumb. It's really just, it's about a guy going, look, my car's faster than yours. Well, my dick is bigger than yours. Shut up.
Well,
Shut up.
I'm not gonna say all wars are dumb because
Wars are dumb.
we've had wars that have had some
Unless you're taking out
benefits,
Hitler or stuff like that. Wars
you
are dumb.
know. Well, we think in particular, the Civil War, that was, had some positive that came out of that. So I'm not going to say all wars are dumb. Like I understand like there's, extreme measures that have to be taken sometimes. But I just think that religion, you keep that in your household and with the people that you share that with. Um so yeah.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
I enjoy this conversation as always. Y'all got to hear me talk a lot today.
About time.
So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate this conversation. Any last remarks? All right, y'all. Well, thank you very much. This is another episode of Shit Your Mama Should Have Told You. That's a wrap. I'm Simone. We had the lovely Ramel and Alex.
Ah. All right, y'all. Until next time.
Until
All
next
right.
time.
Thanks.
Later.